Right, we are back with another interview. Today we got Tommy. Tommy's going to be a very, very interesting one. He's a bit different to most. He's a lot by different. I mean, he's a lot younger. He's just 18. Clearing consistent 8K a month now in USD. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a different story. He's not the typical story of was in the office or was on site or anything like that. He's sort of we've come up in the other way, so we're sort of going to that. But I think the best place to always start, and I always start this in the same way. It is Tommy. Introduce yourself. Give everyone a bit of introduction about you, a bit of a background, how old you are, where you come from, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so my name's Tommy, 18 years old, as Tom said. I'm from a place called Norfolk in England, it's at the east of England, a bit above London. Come from, obviously, like Tom said, I'm 18, don't really come from the space of like working 12-hour days in the sluggish work, like in a corporate job. Come from the construction sort of world, construction background, college. That was a pathway for me. Electrician was the route I was originally going down. Kind of realised that I don't want to do that anymore. Quite a simple decision I kind of made. Just kind of stopped going into college, realised that, I don't think this is the pathway for me, and wanted a bit more freedom. I know it's hard to say, you want a bit more freedom when doing GCSEs a year and a half, 2 years ago, but it is what it is. I mean, there's no age gap for this. It's not like an age-related thing. Doesn't matter how old you are. When you want a bit more freedom, you want a bit more financial freedom as well. You don't want to make the average sort of £2,000 a month, what every other 18-year-old makes. Then you make the decision, don't you?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, you're speaking probably like more of a 25, 30-year-old who's saying, I don't want to make £2,000 a month or whatnot. Help everyone understand, and me as well. I mean, you come fresh 18, fresh on the block, haven't really had much experience with the real world in the sense of you haven't done 13, 14-hour graphs on site or anything like that. So where does that hunger actually come from? Because at the end of the day, a lot of 18-year-olds are, they'll be happy with 2.5, £3,000 a month, living with their parents, living at home and everything like that. So where was it for you specifically that actually changed? Because I mean, a lot of people you probably got friends as well that happily settle for, working at a supermarket, which is nothing wrong with that at all. But what specifically was it for you that actually stood out? I was like, no, I need to make something happen here.
Yeah, I think ever since I was in school looking at different things online, how to make more money than the average, you see it all the time. It's like you said, people are very happy making £2-3 a month. There's nothing wrong with it. That's a consistent thing. But if you stay in the same boat like that, it's never really going to make any change. And you're just going to get lazy. You're going to get complacent. It's going to be the normal. Whereas I was always hungry and driven to actually go and get more. If you never get out of that boat of the £2-3 a month, stuck in that world of just a regular job, at the end of the day, it's going to be even harder to get out of it when you get older. The older you get, the more comfortable you get. I thought, why not make myself more uncomfortable, sacrifice, not working, not going to college, doing something I don't like. When I got into remote sales, I didn't really know what it was. You know what I mean? But I stopped everything to do it. I was, obviously, it doesn't really sound that bad. It's not like some people skip work, get fired from work. I was just skipping college sometimes just to do it. Just distracted by it all the time. You've got to be a bit obsessed to actually make it. And then lo and behold, obviously the hunger, the drive, I think it just mainly comes from a box. That's one of them. I'm an amateur box, been doing that for 4 or 5 years. And that's probably a big driver in the fact of actually wanting more and wanting to go get it, because it's not an easy thing to do. And being uncomfortable is actually the best thing you can do physically and mentally for yourself as well. So I think it just comes from a place of, hunger and drive. It's not much I can say about it, to be honest.
No, for sure. And I think me personally, coming from a sporting background as well, playing professional football, we see a lot of the guys that do come through that have sporting backgrounds tend to correlate quite well into the remote sales or sales as a whole, just because of that competitive mind and that consistency, and you just keep threading through. But I mean, back to what you said a minute ago, with being comfortable and everything like that. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, or it doesn't really click in everyone's head that, when you're such a young age and you are still in such a fortunate position where you're probably still at home, you don't have any expenses, you don't have many bills or anything like that. So why not take them risks? How I like to look at it, and how I always say the same thing to every single person I have a conversation with, right? Your worst case is going to be someone's best case, right? If you go and, everything fails and everything goes as bad as it possibly could, you're still going to go end up at a job that is someone's best case and someone's first choice. So why not give it a go? And that's sort of the mindset that I have pretty much of everything now. And I speak to a lot of people as well. But I mean, moving on from that, I want to help understand a little bit more about yourself. Before you started remote sales, again, it wasn't much before that, but I know we briefly spoke in the DMs and in Discord and whatnot. And you did attempt everything, similar to myself, similar to the other guys that come to me. They did try, your drop shipping, your trading, and everything along those lines. I mean, help me understand for you specifically. What did that look like? Why was it, that remote sales is the right thing that clicked, but let's say dropshipping didn't? I mean, tell everyone more about that.
Right. So obviously I'll go to the 9-to-5 route first of all, just working with family companies, family businesses, construction, mainly labouring, doing grounds work, which is just dreadful. I know it's family businesses, so it's a little bit more lenient in terms of being late, things like that. It wasn't like you got to clock in, clock out. I've always had that sort of self-employed lifestyle. Still grueling work, don't be wrong, especially when it's like December, November time, cold as fuck outside. Do you know what I mean? In regards to dropshipping, trading, every other online method making money, they just didn't work out. You know how it goes. Little £200-300 courses. You realize that, oh yeah, you're just gonna get not scammed, but like it's just basic information that's everywhere. Whereas this is more like I can watch everything online. I can see your channel. I can see everything, Connor's channel. I can see how it works, but I can't really get the ins and outs of what this actually is in whole. I just see people winning. I'm like, well, what are they winning for? Do you know what I mean? What are they actually doing? Take a bit of a deep dive more down the closing side of things, thinking this is a bit more scary, you know what I mean? Then I found Capital Closer, basically said that I'd prefer to do the setting side of things. I was one of the first, wasn't I, in Syndicate Setters months and months and months ago. And yeah, I mean, took the leap. It wasn't necessarily like nothing else worked out, because I had a little bit of success in like drop shipping, but as for a 16-year-old, why do I want to be doing that, spending money on ads? I try to do it organically. You go down that rabbit hole of like get rich quick. You realize that nothing in life is a get rich quick if you actually want it to work. Do you know what I mean? Unless you get extremely lucky, but other than that, you've got to keep it long term, 24/7.
And especially at 16, you probably had a lot of shiny object syndrome, which I mean, I personally had as well. And everyone speaking for themselves could probably say the same thing. Like you see dropshipping, you know, it was flashy and everyone wanted to do it. I did it, you did it, everyone else did it, right? But it's like you said yourself, anything that it is worth having needs that consistency, it needs that long-term vision where, you know, remote sales, you build a skill and you can sort of leverage that in every business. Either you go to agency route, whatever coaching route, whatever you may do, you're going to need that skill of that remote sales anyway. So there's going to be online money either way, okay? I mean, touching more into, you mentioned there about Syndicate Setter and Capital Closer. I mean, when you mentioned there briefly when you come across it, what was your sort of first sort of like reaction when you saw it? Because I know you've been around the space, you understand it, you were still very young in that sense. So what did that look to you? Did you see anything, oh, it's another scam? Or you think, oh, wow, I can actually do this? I mean,
I looked at it in terms of, I never looked at anything like a scam. So I always knew it for someone, it's worked out, right? Even programs that are a little bit dodgy, it's worked out for someone. It's more of like what you said when I had the first call with you, in terms of like, you told me straight up, it's not a get rich quick. This is going to be difficult. I seen Connor obviously talk about that on his Instagram. Like, it's not an easy thing. It's way harder than normal sales. Way harder than, at the start, it's way harder than just corporate sales. But the reward from it, you just look at it. And I look past all of the hard work and graft that I had to go into it, because you just see the reward that you get from it. Even if you made three or four grand a month, not at a job, like a regular 9-to-5 job. I know I said earlier on, like 2-3 grand, like people are happy earning that. But if you're earning that fully remotely, you can go like yourself. You're in Spain right now, go all over the world with it, and it doesn't really matter. It's the remote, it's the freedom, the financial flexibility that you can have from doing that. And I've seen it time and time again on Connor's and yourself's Instagram, and it just pushed me to want to have a conversation. It was a bit of a no-brainer just because I've been watching it for so long. And yeah, I mean, I've come across a lot of other sales mentors and things that are under that line, but nothing really caught my eye, if I'm being honest.
no, of course. And that makes sense. I mean, yeah, remote sales specifically, it's like you do get that. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a balance, because you still are sat here grafting, you still are doing it hard, still doing the hard work, but you do get it out. You like to have that freedom where you're not trapped in a certain location. With some other stuff, you possibly are, like with a 9-to-5 and everything like that, which is sort of the main benefit of it. But I mean, at the age of 18, very young, you still probably had some skepticism. What were some things going through your head that, because I mean, it'll be unnatural for you not to have any skepticism. What was going through your head when you were like, I see this, I see guys making money, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30K a month, working from Dubai or Ibiza, wherever they want. I mean, what was going through your head in that moment when you saw it? Were you like, no, I mean, what were you sort of thinking, the skepticism part of it?
If I'm being like fully honest, obviously it was a bit like, oh, hang on, like the numbers could be a little bit like, they could be lying here, they could be faking it. This could be something where he's just got his mate and told him to say this, that, and the other. Realistically, to be honest, I had a bit of skepticism, but I just took the leap, took the jump. The minute I got inside, I was just messaging people from Syndicate Setter, just talking about it. And you realize you're just speaking to these guys, instant replies as well from all the boys I still speak to today. I help, obviously, I'm a setter for most of the boys as well, from being placed on roles by yourself. Yeah, I mean, you just speak to them and it's like, well, you don't need to ask, is this true? Did you make 5, 10K in this month? They just reply back like, yeah, I mean, I think I asked a stupid question once to someone. I said, like, is this legit while I'm already inside? It's like, I don't know why I asked it. Obviously, a couple months back, And they just kind of laughed at me. I was like, yeah, mate, like, what is, I don't get what you mean. Like, of course it's legit. I'm not going to just sit here, be in this group lying about how much I'm making. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy. And the fact I speak to these people on the regular as well, like my Discord and my Instagram is flooded with a lot of motivation, you could say, just seeing people similar age, a couple years older like yourself. And yeah, it's very good to see. Probably number 3 on the list of like things that push you towards your goals is seeing people that are literally just so not local, but like just relatable. We're all in the same position one day, and we've got nose, we've got eyes, we've got ears. We're all the exact same, and like coming from similar backgrounds, if not the same background. All lads from like the UK, all over the place. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It's good to have
Yeah,
it.
no, 100%. And I think not a lot of people know this. Obviously, where we are direct connected to the Capital Closer, we have access to all the closers, which is how we get access to the best roles in this space, which is similar to Tommy. He come in and was asking for the guys that were closers and everything like that. So I did actually get a few messages about Tommy asking, like, you know, is Tommy with that? Because he was so keen, so eager to learn early doors. He was pretty much just asking everyone any question he could possibly do. But I mean, that's sort of the positive of you can, you know, you get into the space, you get into the industry. And off the cuff, you have access to guys that make 50, 60, 70K, and you have direct access to them. Ask them whatever questions you want. You can send them things, they will just reply and actually actively have conversations with you rather than, you know, starting as a clean slate, having everything to do for yourself and having to figure out everything from the scratch, which I think is probably one of the, you know, one of the biggest things. I mean, everyone always says that, you know, they say your network is your net worth. And it seems you know, a bit far-fetched, but at the end of the day, it is genuinely true. You know, most of the time you can relate. Now, Tom, you don't really do any applications for jobs anymore. People now come to you with recruiters that you've done, you know, you've actually with, and now they like you because they've seen you're a good rep. You know, they come to you now and say, Tommy, I've got this new offer. Do you want to jump on it? Bang, you're on an offer. No interview, no CVs, none of that. You literally jump on an offer because they trust you. You know, which is quite the big part of what we do. But I wanted to sort of more ask you about your sort of first week, because coming from those experience, I mean, a lot of the guys that we speak to. Talk me through your first week inside. What was that actually like? Because I know it could be very overwhelming from someone no sales background. You're literally now learning to sell to people. How did that sort of look?
As you said, questions. Like you just ask as many questions as possible. Like I think on your coaching calls, every single like 5 minutes there would be a break, and you'd be like, "Oh, any questions? Anyone got anything to say?" And every single time, my hand would be up, asking the most stupid questions, most outrageous questions. Because I kind of already know in my heart what the question is, but you've just got to make it clear to yourself. You've got it's repetition. You've just got to be the one that's like obsessed with it. If you don't ask questions, you don't actually get involved. Then I mean, what's the point at the end of the day? So the first week, yeah, I mean, I think I landed a role within my first 2 weeks. So the first week was just getting the CV done, getting the mock call passed, which was obviously flying colours within the first week, which is decent. I know it was a little bit of a smaller group first time round when I joined, which was brilliant. And then yeah, I mean, all of the boys all doing mock calls every single day. Literally, people would be coming from work. Obviously, I didn't have work, luckily. I was just waiting to land an offer, which was brilliant. Yeah, you got like Callum, Issa come work, jumping on mock call was brilliant. Then landed that first role within the second week. Decent role, but it's basis like. Go on, so you were going to say something?
No, then how long did it take for you to land your role from the day you joined to the day you actually got on a roll making money?
14 days, wasn't it? I think it was generally 2 weeks on the spot.
14 days to come on board and land the role. And we're sort of talking to the numbers in a minute, but we'll go over that in a second. That's a whole different segment that we've got coming up. Help me understand, what was the training like comparing to what you think it was like? Because I know you said you bought a few of the shitty, like 200, 300, 400 pounds and everything like that. Like, obviously, you come in, you have your expectations when you first come in, when you have the onboarding call with me, we set expectations. But when you went for the training, you went through the community, you got the one-to-one access, the coaching calls, the reviews. What was that like genuinely like compared to what you think it was going to be like?
Game changer, really. It was a game changer. Just going for everything. It was like it's all in front of you at the end of the day. If you don't utilize it, you are crazy. And then yeah, I mean, it switched the game because going from YouTube, just watching 20 different like people on YouTube talk about sales, you just don't know what you're doing. It's just all over the place. Well, your process is very streamlined, more simple, and it's just all you just learn that, and then there you go. It's all there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you're learning 20 different people who don't even do setting as a whole, like B2C setting, more like, for example, I know you've been on many trading offers, I've been on many trading offers, so it is more tailored towards that, which is brilliant. And yeah, I mean, just so simple. I can't really describe how easy it was coming on board. From the minute you get in, you just straight away, obviously, you're on the ball. You want to get it done as fast as possible. You want to watch for everything twice, 3 times over. Yeah, just a breeze, to be honest.
No, I'm glad it's sort of the way we sort of set it up to make it sure it's as easy as possible. I know we mentioned there a minute ago, you landed your first role 14 days after coming on board, which is a joke. I mean, speed to implementation is like through the roof. I mean, you had a fortunate position where you didn't need to be at work, but help me understand how did that sort of direct placement help you out? Because I know a lot of the people there in the space, you don't have that direct placement available. But with us, it's obviously outlet. How does that, now that you're in the space and you understand how it works, how does that differ to, let's say, if you didn't have that at the start to when you actually did have it at the start, when you landed that first role 14 days within us?
I'd say, obviously, if I didn't have direct placement or actually know where to go in terms of applying to roles, I'd have probably never even landed a role and just given up. Do you know what I mean? Like landing a role without like the direct placement and like knowing exactly how to do it step by step, sending the CV, sending the messages to offer owners or applying through the job board, things like that. I know I've got like a new job board and everything inside, which is obviously a lot better. It would just be impossible to like message people through like LinkedIn, Instagram without knowing what to say. Like I always see like Instagram reels of like offer owners showing what the setters are saying to like trying to land the role, and it's like awful because they don't have mentorships or courses to go through where they can actually know what to say. So they're just saying the most outrageous stuff, sending the worst Loom videos possible. I know I've got like the likes of like Jack Parr and everyone who knows exactly how to do a perfect Loom interview, things like that from Inside Capital Closer. So many examples you can follow. Like when we mapped mine out and done it all like one-to-one, it was just a breeze, to be fair. Like I can apply to offers now and just have interviews, back to back interviews if I really wanted to, because I know everything's going to be on point compared to the rest of the people that are applying who aren't taking it serious. Background's messed up, everything just is not right in their Loom video, their messaging is just off, they don't reply to messages when they're getting an offer. But luckily I don't really have to deal with that too much because obviously the big dog fucking places me on offers, so it's all right. Don't worry. Just sit back.
Working overtime behind the scenes to make it happen, but that's for another day. But I want an honest answer here. It doesn't literally matter what you say. What would you say, in your opinion, what was the hardest part? Because I think a lot of people can relate to you in the sense of, being quite young, starting from a clean slate, just being hungry. What would you say personally was the hardest part for you when you come on board at Syndicate Setter and to sort of where you are right now?
If I'm being honest, there was like a crossroad where maybe you get in your head a little bit. The first like few weeks, maybe just after the first month, you kind of start to think, is this the right path? Am I going? I'm so young. I thought like the 9 to 5 route, like maybe that's just a bit more comfortable. You start to slip into like old habits. Never did, luckily, because you just have to man up a little bit and realize that, look, this is not the path to go down. I literally had conversations with people who were in the same boat that went into the 9 to 5, back into the 9 to 5 route from remote sales. And then they just realized, like, what have I done? I've made the worst mistake possible. So it was probably a little bit of like, not anxiety, it's a bad word to use, but just a bit of scarcity of like, wow, maybe like the 9 to 5 path is just so comfortable, so easy. Then you catch yourself like sleepless nights lying there thinking, why was I even thinking that after you just done £800 in one day, thinking like, wow, okay. I mean, I don't even know how that was possible for that thought to pop in my head. But I would say that was very short lasted. It was very short lasted. It was like one of those like split second things where you have a thought about it. I don't know who I was on the phone to the other day. I was just talking about it, but one of the closers who I work with, who's actually in Syndicate, there's so many now, I forgot. But yeah, it's just that you will get bad thoughts. You will get things fly through your head. Whether is this for you, but you'll get it for everything, right? You'll get it for a new job you've just started. You'll think, oh wow, what have I done? Then realistically, you wake up and realize everything's in front of me. All I've got to do is execute, and it will just flow. And then lo and behold, like a week later, it did. And I was on call with you the other day, wasn't I? And like, it's just crazy. It just comes so quick. You just got to stick with it.
I think that is a big part of the industry. I mean, I think what you said there really, really does fall under the bracket of basically shiny object syndrome, because you get into it, have a week in, like you said yourself, you make £800 a day, which is like, it's just fast. You make it, and you still sit there thinking, is this the right path? Has it got longevity? Am I going to make enough money? And then you sort of click yourself back into reality. You think, well, I've just made £800 in a day. I'm pacing over 15K for the month. It's like, no, this is definitely the right path, And I mean, similar to what you said the other day, we had a chat the other day, and it's like, well, am I on the right path? Am I on the right track? Yeah, you are, and it's sort of, it's good to have someone there to sort of, help you out and sort of talk you through that you are on the right path, because you can definitely get caught up in it and thinking, well, you look online and you see a guy that's 21 making 300K a month, and you're like, whoa, I need to be there, But in reality, you got to check yourself in and think, well, no, I'm actually doing, quite good for what I'm doing. Again, you don't want to get complacent, but you also want to make sure you are reality checking yourself that it is good what you're doing, But now I want to talk about the juicy part of everything, the results, the bit why everyone's here, the bit why everyone's listening, the numbers, okay? Hit me. Give me the numbers. What did you make? First month, second month, third month, till now, what we're at, 14 days in, whatever it was. Talk me through the time frames and numbers.
So month one, obviously I joined like halfway through the month, and I think it was February. It was slow, obviously, but I was still like kind of working here and there when I could, doing little bits and bobs, like just working with family, like I said. I think it was like just a few £100 on the side of it, just like within the 15 days. Second month was when I got placed directly by you. I'm not too sure exactly how much I've done that month. Maybe slacked a little, maybe could have done a bit more. £500, £600 that month.
I do remember it was £980 that first full month, and then the first 2 weeks was just under 600. I'm pretty sure. Since you joined, so within 6 weeks of joining, you did over 1.6K in commissions in pounds, which is about 2.5 USD. I've got it all written down.
And then month 4 or month 3 was the biggest month. You put me on a launch. You literally messaged me and she was just like, "Do you want a big dog roll or something like that?" And I was like, "Am I going to turn that down?" 3 days later was when I was doing like the big days, like £400, £300 days. £800 was the best day. Yeah, crazy. And then that month was, I just cracked 5K USD that month. That was April, I think. May, little bit of a slower one. I think it was like 2 or 3K in May. And then last month, last month was a big one. Last month was just over 4.9, which works out to be,
just over £7, seven USD. Sorry. That's what it works out to be. I've just got it in front of me here. So, we've had a gradual increase then in numbers, right? We've had started off at 600, went to 900, went to just under 3, and then we went to fucking 4.5. So, the next one's definitely going to be the 6-7K GBP, 10K USD. Help me understand. You went from being 18, obviously never really seeing any of that money before. How did that sort of feel when you first got that payout from that launch, that, 3.5, 4K landed in your account?
Isn't it? Because you go from barely even doing like 2K a month, just working your ass off, doing whatever jobs you can, and then you just see that money. It's like, yes, I worked hard for it, but it didn't feel like I was like extremely burnt out or like, wow, this is like I broke my back to get this. It was kind of like just the abundance of it coming through, just like in crazy numbers. Some days you'd do everything the day before, you'd set all the calls the day before, you triage whatever you need to do. The next day would be so stacked. You may obviously have to do the next day of calls, maybe a little bit less. But then all of it just like, it's like delayed gratification. It's the whole thing is just delayed gratification. Even though it's by like 2 or 3 days, you set the calls, they just come through. It was like random deals where just like crossing the line. I'll be like, I think like, that's like 150 quid. I didn't even realize he was on the call. Didn't even realize that Reese or whatever closer I had was on the call. It's like, it's a crazy feeling because you think about it, you break it down. When I was younger, obviously, I know 16, 17, not going to make tons of money, but if you make £1,000 a month, you know what I mean? When you make nearly £1,000 in one day out of the month, just think, it's not even like you just want more. It's a crazy feeling. You like never stop. The more you get, It's crazy.
When it comes to an abundance, you want to make more of it, And you said it there yourself. With the launch, anyone sort of listening might not understand what that sort of means or how that works, right? Launches work. You come in, calls automatically get booked into your calendar. Closes calendar. What Tommy was doing, he was jumping on the calls and he was confirming them, making sure that they're going to be turning up and just making sure they're a good fit to put it in conclusion, right? Calls lasted anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. You add them to a WhatsApp group chat and that was it, right? And every single deal that closed was worth anywhere between £150 to £300 for Tommy, right? So, when we're working out the hourly rate, it's through the roof. He was doing 5 to 10 minutes of work just for, 5 to 10 minutes of work per call to make £150 to £200 per person that, closes. Of course, not everyone closes, and that comes with weighing it up, but give or take, you get the gist. 10 minutes of work, £150, which is why I think the abundance mindset comes in, because it's like, well, I'm doing a 10-minute call and you never want to go back to anything else. It's like, imagine going back to a grocery store now, and again, nothing against people that work in grocery stores, imagine going back to that now thinking, well, I've made that in 10 minutes and now I've got to work that for 15 hours. And it's like, well, that's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? It will never go back to that of you actually making it work, right?
Exactly
But
that.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it from me, Tommy. I don't know if you wanted to sort of add anything else. I was just going to ask you one final question towards the back end of this interview, which is like a lot of people are going to be in very similar boats to yourself, whether they're coming out of uni, maybe working dead end jobs where they don't see a future in, or whatever it may be, right? I'm not sure what it may be. What's one bit of advice that you have for someone like that, that is, that you just think, okay, what would you say to someone that's on the fence? I'm in an R.
If they were on the fence, I'm in an R in. It depends how bad they genuinely want it, first of all. They're coming out of university, college. Obviously, I was coming out of college, like second year. Just go for it. There's not really much else you can say. It's it's hard one to grasp because it's like, it's not an easy thing to do and like really look into and go, yeah, this is going to be the pathway I'm going to take. I didn't know this was going to be my pathway I was going to take 6 months, 7 months ago, 8 months ago. Do you know what I mean? Jump into it. All of a sudden, 6 months flies by and then you're on pacing to do 5-6 grand a month. You know what I mean? Which will only grow. It's like, if you are scared to do it, that's almost like the best time to do it. And that's exactly what I done. If you speak to everyone inside, everyone was scared to do it at first. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, this is the easiest thing in the world. Here you go, bang, I'm in, doing all this work. It's like everyone's scared. Everyone's like at the start of it, at the start of the finish, at the start of the race, sorry, they're always just there like, wow, what if I lose? What if something happens along the way? What if I trip and fall? It's like, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have little mess ups along the way. You just got to look through them. At the end of the day, it's not a race. You know what I mean? Some people take longer to get there. It doesn't really matter as long as you get there at the end of the day. So I'd say that would be what I would say. Just do it.
Just jump. And I mean, I'll go back to finish this off here, and what Tommy said there, just polish that off, is whatever your situation you're in right now, your worst case scenario, if everything fails, everything goes to terribly, you don't put the effort in, you don't do anything like that, it's going to be someone's best case where you go back to the same job you're working and they're going to take you back with open hands. You're going to carry on making the same money, and that's the last thing I wanted to say. But Tommy, thank you so much for jumping on. This is a really, really good interview, really insightful for anyone sort of in the same scenario as you. But next time I'm going to speak probably be, let's say August when you're at 10K USD. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, let's say August or September, 10K.
No. We're not doing September. There's no point prolonging it. None of that, okay? All right, lovely stuff. Thank you so much. August. No, let's do September the 1st. August is your month that you do it. Let's go with that. Right, perfect. Lovely stuff. Thank you for jumping on, mate. We'll speak soon.